And we're joined by Jen Goodwin, the Vice President of Enrollment at Okanagan College. I wanted to talk to you because we're seeing, well, there's been two phases to it, a great reduction in the number of new foreign students that are coming to this college. What does that mean? What do you plan for now? And how does it affect the finances?
Yeah, certainly it is a complex issue. It's one that we've been watching closely throughout the past year. Back in January, when the federal government made initial announcements to reduce the number of study permits, and that was post-secondaries across the country, we saw first impacts of that, where it meant that come this September, we had about 50% fewer first-year international students starting with us on campus at Okanagan College. So we were starting to see a decline of numbers of international students here. And we're seeing that continue as we look ahead to January. We know we've got fewer first-year students starting at the college, and that really comes from the government reducing the number of students overall coming into Canada.
And the foreign students pay the full freight of their education. They pay a lot more in tuition because they're not subsidized like the other students are. So that must be, are you facing deficits yet?
Well, I want to be clear, first of all, that current students who are here now are not impacted by the cap. So the current international students who are studying here are continuing to be able to study at the college. The changes are an impact to students starting new.
Right.
In terms of finances, this year, Okanagan College, this fiscal year, has had about the same number of international students as we have had the past 2 years. So our overall international student population has remained at a bit of a consistent level. But we know it will be less as we get into next year, so September of 2025, and theoretically, if the enrollment continues to drop, we'll see fewer students again in 2026. So what that means, obviously, is as you have fewer students coming in, you have less tuition revenue coming in. And what we need to do as a college then is align our operations to match the number of students coming in.
Right. So if things stay on this same course, you have to start looking at scenarios where you actually shrink, where does that mean reduce programs, fewer course offerings?
Yeah, really great question. And really that's what we're looking at right now as a college community, is how to keep our programming strong and vibrant across all 4 campuses. So Salmon Arm, Vernon, Kelowna, Penticton remain committed at each of those campus communities. But figuring out how we can do that with fewer international students. So often people will start at the budget side of this conversation, but we're starting at the student side of this conversation, where we say, we know we want to be able to continue offering robust programming, whether it's in arts or business, science, tech, trades, health, that these are important areas. We know they're important for our communities as well. How do we do that if we have fewer students coming in? Because we obviously can't be operating empty classes or classes with really, really small numbers. It has to be viable so that we can be sustainable to keep offering that programming.
It seems to me, with what I'm hearing, the public should be paying attention to this. If we're starting to see these policies adversely affect the course offerings, not just at colleges, but at universities, then people might want to speak up and say, hey, are we on the right course?
You know what? This is something that we as a college sector are experiencing here in BC, but also across the country. And over the past few weeks, we have started to hear some of that support, which is really encouraging. We're concerned about the impact on our enrollment here. This is something that, as we have these conversations as a college and look at how can we align our operations to reduced enrollment, those are tough conversations, and they're impactful on people and on our communities. So we have concern, but we're encouraged by the support that we're seeing, whether it's from the Chambers of Commerce or employer partners that we work with. They appreciate and see the vital role of the college, and that is what is helpful right now, is support for that message.
Yeah, when I start to hear you having to plan for how can this institution do less, that is not an encouraging.
Well, and let's be clear, like we want to be able to continue offering that wide range of programming, and whether that's training to work in healthcare or training to work in manufacturing or in trades, those are vital programs. So there's no intent or desire to see that shrink. What we have to do is figure out how we can adapt to having fewer students.
Wow, a lot of tough decisions ahead.
Yeah, but we've got a great team here, and as most people know, the faculty and the instructors and the team members here are top notch. So we're working together to navigate the coming months.
Terrific. Thanks for helping me understand it, helping us understand it. Thanks.
Absolutely.
We don't just report the news, we live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.